And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Hey, one of my favorite gals are here. Hello, Letha. Good morning, young lady. It's always nice when a beautiful woman is there when you first go live. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I had a little echo. This, folks, I'm telling, everyone over on the live chat on Rumble. I'm also watching you guys. So my God, if you could see my office, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 screens, and pretty soon I'll have 6 screens. Luckily for me, I got my spectacles so I can see. Right now I'm blind. Now, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. My friends, oh my God. I'm going to take Patrick's advice. The person that that I have been talking with, I'm going to send him or her some roses because, holy shit. Okay. He or she has done a little recon for me. That's where I'm going to send flowers. The marketing campaign for BlackRock. Just the internal marketing campaign to their clients. Right? Yes, and on YouTube. Right? They're hitting YouTube. Folks, I got more information than I know what to damn do with. Anyone else seen BlackRock commercials on YouTube? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The marketing campaign for Bitcoin and BlackRock, they're getting ready to change their name to friggin' BitRock. That's how crazy this is getting. BitRock. They're gonna get rid of BlackRock and just call it Bitcoin Rock. The internal marketing campaign and the email strategy with existing clients, the sales, right? The sales teams, which are the agents, they're ramping up, folks. And I have an itching suspicion there's going to be an announcement from BlackRock and others here tomorrow. My friends, are you ready for this? Are you really ready for this? Do you have enough Bitcoin? All right. Let me tell you a little secret. Let me tell you a little secret, folks. Binance was going to run out of Bitcoin yesterday. Binance was going to run out of Bitcoin yesterday. They had to halt all trading. They halted all of trading on the whole platform to switch wallets to switch the API. Anybody? Bueller. My friend, here. Hang on one second. All right. Now let's see which one this is. Yep, that's it. Hang on a second.
Its gains up almost $600 earlier this week. It crossed 35,000 for the first time since 2022. It's doubled for the year. Optimism is surrounding the possible eventual approval of Bitcoin spot.
Shout out to my boy Pop. He's a great guy.
Bitcoin ETS. That has something to do with the surge. Obviously, joining us now, Anthony Pompliano, founder of Pomp Investments, to try to sort out anything related here. There was, I guess, some ETF news, although you would argue it was to be expected. So BlackRock yesterday or the day before got a CUSIP number that we knew they would have to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, to understand really where Bitcoin is right now, you got to go back to 2018, 2019. Bitcoin had been up to 20,000 in the bull market. It drew all the way down to $3,000. What happened there, and Stanley Druckenmiller said it was the thing that convinced him to go buy Bitcoin, is that none of the Bitcoiners really sold. About 80% of the people who owned it at 20,000 still owned it
still
at 3,000.
56% long term right now. So there's no supply for it either.
It's highly liquid. 76% hasn't been sold in the last year. 56% hasn't been sold in the last 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And really what we saw, what drove Bitcoin's price from that $3,000 bottom to $69,000, I mean, 23x in about 3 years, is that there was a supply and a demand shock. And we had printing of money, low interest rates, and we also got the halving. We look like we're headed right back to that. Right now, we do have high interest rates and they're trying not to print money. But we have a $33.5 trillion debt. They're trying to fund 2 proxy wars. We have the southern border issue. We've got all sorts of inflation they're still trying to combat. And so what's likely to happen here is that they're going to have to return to loose monetary policy. When they do that, it is likely to coincide with the Bitcoin halving.
But near term, just talking about the ETFs, you've got nothing has happened in the last 3 weeks to indicate it's any closer.
Well, I definitely think that it's closer, right? I mean,
because 3 weeks went by.
Well, 3 weeks went by, but also BlackRock is now going and they're seeding the fund.
They're seeding the fund in October, which is new.
Correct. And so they just amended the application. And so really what you're just seeing is they're getting prepared for the approval. The big question is, are they going to just...
Do they know anything? They may know nothing either.
They may know nothing, but I don't think that BlackRock is going to go through all this effort, right? Remember, there's reputation risk here in terms of people know what they're doing. And so it's much more likely that it's going to get approved.
You need a different change on who's in charge. I mean, you've got 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans, right? Is that we had one of the Republicans on that, and she said, I have no idea why. It makes no sense. It hasn't been approved yet, but that doesn't mean that she's going to convince her colleagues.
At the end of the day, Bitcoin doesn't care about the politics of it all, right? Now, the SEC and other organizations definitely care. Well, here's the thing is Bitcoin is just highly, highly disciplined, right? It is the most disciplined central bank in the world. It doesn't care what's going on in the news. It doesn't care about geopolitics. It just produces
but the price of Bitcoin does. The price of Bitcoin cares very much about what happens.
Bitcoin's up 100% to start this year, right? And I don't think a lot of people kind of recognize that because they remember it was at 69,000. It drew down to 15, but it's up 100% to start the year. And so when you look at that, the market is obviously telling us something. And what we're watching is capital is flowing.
Someone's calling it a flight to quality.
You've not someone, like
Larry Fink,
right? Larry Fink
versus bonds. Let me see if I have this right. Can the government issue more than 21 million bonds?
I want to add this in. Listen to what he says about bonds. I'm telling you, folks, the bonds got wrecked the other day. That was BlackRock selling the bonds to seed the Bitcoin. That's what, did you notice the same day The day after the bonds dropped was when Bitcoin shot up. They were moving funds out of their bond allocation into the Bitcoin seed allocation. You just have to know where to look to see who's selling the bonds. It's BlackRock, right? And the government, right, when the government sells bonds, what are called fresh bonds, right? When the government sells fresh bonds, it's the only one buying them. The only one buying them's the Fed. They're literally having no interest in bonds. So the Fed has to buy them. For the wars and all the spending and all that. Folks, I don't give a pluck what the Fed says. They're printing money through monetary policy of the government. They may say they're not printing money, that they're trying to rein in inflation. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm calling it. Because the Fed is buying the government bonds. They're the only buyers. And they're giving the money to the U.S. government that is behind the scenes actually friggin' bailing out the banks. They're trying to bail out Ukraine, and they're getting ready to try and bail out Israel. This is one huge bailout fund. But the reason the interest rate at the Federal Reserve is they're trying to control the inflation inside America. My friends, you have to understand what's going on. The outside, remember, 3/4 of the US dollars in existence are outside of America. They're trying to flood the American economy with American dollars before they're devalued. Florida just outlawed China and China's subsidiaries from buying land. The American Congress is setting up to do the same thing. The government is setting it up where you can't purchase any securities from China. They all have to go through America. Why? Because they know this inflation has to go somewhere. They're trying to push it into the stock market, but it's not working because these are overvalued deflationary assets. And none of them are limited. The only one that is, the only asset of limited supply is Bitcoin. And BlackRock knows it. Wall Street knows it. Everyone knows it now. The marketing campaigns are about to set up. Folks, in 2017, I said the same thing. Watch for marketing campaigns. As soon as they hit, boom, Bitcoin shot up. BlackRock is marketing on YouTube, and they're using search engine optimization tools specifically for people who have watched or shown interest in Bitcoin. You think I'm full of shit, folks? Learn again. No. Like everyone over on Rumble, folks, jump on this chat. See? Jump on this chat. I'm telling you folks right now, shit's about to go crazy, baby. About to go crazy. Now, let's watch the rest.
The government can issue as much as they want.
Right, but how many Bitcoin?
One of the most important
21 million.
One of the most important details or kind of data points that I saw recently that really kind of opened my eyes was TLT from the high in 2020, 2021 is down about the same that Bitcoin is. And so where bonds used to be this flight to safety, now all of a sudden you're seeing people around the world say, look, some people are still buying bonds for sure, but there are some other people who are buying Bitcoin. And given that Bitcoin is the finite asset, I think that's ultimately where you get price appreciation.
Well, Anthony, the only thing I was going to say is that what Washington does is very, very important. If it weren't, there wouldn't be so many Bitcoin enthusiasts trying to do so much to spend money there and try and influence. If you look at Sam Bankman-Fried or anybody down the line, what Washington decides does matter. And I would think that having them decide something would be helpful. Like just getting rules of the road would probably.
So I think that the companies that deal with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, they care what Washington is doing, right? They're the ones who are spending the money. They're the ones who are doing this. Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. Bitcoin's not spending any money. Bitcoin doesn't even have a team behind it. And so I think that the companies very much care and they are lobbying and they are trying to get these clarity of rules and try to push this forward. But Bitcoin itself, if the government tomorrow came out and banned Bitcoin, everyone else around the world would say, okay. And they probably would actually go buy it because all of a sudden they would say, hey, this is outside the system. This is something that isn't controlled by any government. It isn't controlled by any individual. And so it's this very interesting thing where decentralization of the protocol really matters. But the companies, they're still centralized companies with American citizens running them, and they definitely care what is going on in Washington.
So you think when above the old highs, when and how much higher above the old highs?
Hundreds of % appreciation when we get to these bull markets has been the norm. I don't see that changing now.
And then back to where?
I mean, look, there's a cycle, right? It's very much.
I mean, it's a hideous, frightening cycle that just shakes you to the core when Bitcoin comes back down. It went to 17 from 65, right? 69.
People have been on this show for years now talking about all the stocks that went up a lot, they went down a lot, and over a long period of time, they were great investments. You just kind of hold through all the volatility. Yeah. I think Bitcoin is really just the true free market asset, right? There is no, circuit breakers. There is nobody bailing it out. When we saw FTX and other companies go under, the government didn't rush in to bail them out. They bailed out the banks. And so I think that there is this element of a free market asset is going to have way more volatility than something that's inside of the system.
You know, it's a little weird this time, Anthony, is that you wouldn't say that there's been risk on in tech over that the right-hand side of that. This has not been a risk-on environment from 25 to 34. It's gone up 40% in a risk-off environment. So that almost looks like it's not correlated now, and that's where the Fink got the flight that it's money, which to call Bitcoin quality is, in a lot of people's mind, that's anathema. Charlie Munger thinks it's rat shitsu.
One of the things people have to remember is the best investors in the world act completely differently than the herd. And so right now the herd is saying we're risk off. Every great investor I know is going risk on. They're buying these assets at suppressed prices because they know what's going to happen. We're going to return to loose monetary policy and prices are going to go back up.
Are we though? Higher for longer, higher for longer, higher for longer.
You eventually run into math. And ultimately, you have a $33.5 trillion debt. You added $500 billion in the last month. We're sending hundreds of billions of dollars around for these proxy wars. If you're going to continue to raise the national debt, you're going to have to inflate it away. And so loose monetary policy is going to be the standard over the coming decades.
Let's go back to this idea of, and we've talked about it on the broadcast a lot, this sort of buy the rumor, sell the news situation, which is if in fact this ETF exists, there's a big announcement. Is that a great day for Bitcoin, or is that baked into the price and you needed to have gotten there beforehand and actually goes down afterwards?
I think it's a great point. The halvings historically have been this like buy the rumor, sell the news events. The ETF probably is going to be something like that, where if you saw this fake news, I guess it was, where the ETF got approved, but it really wasn't approved. Right. Basically, price went up thousands of dollars in a few minutes, then drew right back down as soon as it was determined that it was fake. And so you probably will get some sort of short-term movement just out of the excitement. But I do think that this anticipation is obviously driving the price up. It was 25,000, now it's 34,000. You're just eating into what was potential returns on the approval. Right. And so the question isn't so much what happens on day one. Right. Galaxy Digital just came out with a research report. They think $14 billion will go into the ETF in the first year. If that happens, what does that do to the price? Their expectation is that's going to drive the price 75% higher. And so that's just their estimation around the ETF. If that's true, that's a pretty big price move for an asset that's already hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap.
I like getting, for the people that are really in the cult. I mean, there's even names. So when is a halving almost sounds like an awakening or something. When is the next halving? When is it's coming, isn't it?
Yeah, less than a year away. I do feel sometimes like we're talking about things the same way that people talk about, when is your birthday? What is the
Did you know the halving was coming? The halving is coming, Becky.
I've heard this, yes.
Andrew.
But I also understand where
prepare.
I know.
Prepare for the halving. The halving is coming.
I feel like I'm on the leftovers.
What is and I love it. I'm kidding around about it. I think it's great. But what's the stock to flow right now? What is the number? Do you know? Do you keep track of things?
There's 900 Bitcoin that are coming into circulation every single day. It'll cut down to 450. The reason why the halving is really important, in my opinion, is it ultimately disproves the efficient market hypothesis, right? If you think about, everyone knows that it's coming, but not everyone is going to act the same. Some people think it's buy the rumor, sell the news.
With stock to flow, is it cheaper than gold's stock to flow right now?
I don't know what gold's is, but Bitcoin has continued to become more and more attractive over time. And then again, 76% of all Bitcoin hasn't been sold in the last year. That's from $69,000 down to $15,000, back up to $34,000. When you start looking at these numbers, why are people not selling? They obviously have some sort of long-term belief in an asset. And so if you have a highly illiquid market, an ETF gets approved, tens of billions.
There are also some of the craziest people on Twitter, as you know.
There's a report yesterday that the Wall Street executives supposedly are shocked at how much interest there are in these products. And I think that what we're watching in some weird way is Wall Street is being introduced to the internet. But now this time, it's not the internet versus Wall Street, like we saw with the meme stocks. Instead, you're seeing Wall Street and the internet basically get on the same side of the table. And Wall Street's getting excited. They're saying, wait a second, these people are insane on the internet, and we're going to have an asset or a fund that they want. That could be really interesting for us.
Hence why BlackRock is advertising on YouTube. Because Wall Street realizes, holy Jesus, look at the volumes on these. Look at the volumes on an illiquid asset that's global and is true. Folks, this ain't all I got. Wait until I show you. Wait till I show you what Max Kaiser broke down. It was his tweet was so retweeted, it froze up his account on Twitter. Because people that know, thank you, Siri, fuck off. People that know. Max Kaiser's tweet, hell with it. We've already heard enough from these people. Right. Oh, hang on. Wait, share screen. Right now. Go back. Right. Right? Let me explain. Right? Right? If you can read this, read this. If you can't, I'll read it to you. Hash rate precedes price. First, we saw hash rate skyrocket, and now Bitcoin price is starting to catch up. Listen, folks, the implied hash adjusted price is over $300,000 per Bitcoin. Now, let me explain that. Right? Let me remove this. Right? The hash rate always precedes a price rise every time. It's probably the most reliable watch that you can do on a Bitcoin. The hash rate implied price in alliance with the hash rate that just skyrocketed over the last 3 weeks is $300,000 per Bitcoin. Right? The reason Max Kaiser tweeted this and explained it all is because a lot of people don't understand. While the herd is looking at the price on Coinbase, the people like me, the people like Max Kaiser, and other people in the industry, there's a mathematical calculation for hash rate in association with price. That's what we watch. When you hear someone say Bitcoin's, according to the hash rate, Bitcoin is severely undervalued. Right? Folks, it always matches up to the hash rate in the bull run. Always. Always. What this tells us is right now, as of right now, the next bull run in this bull run for Bitcoin, the price will hit over $300,000. It is the most predictable formula for predicting price on Bitcoin out there. My friends, I'm telling you now, I've been saying this forever. Click the link under here. Open an account at Caleb and Brown. If you cannot open an account at Caleb and Brown, call us at the club. Join the club's membership and we can get you Bitcoin as a service of the club. Go to www.bitcoinbenscryptoclub.com. You click the contact us and we'll walk you through joining the club. then even if you live in New York, because this is a membership club, it's a private membership club. New York's laws can fuck off. Method to my madness, folks. See, government's stupid and slow. We're not. Okay, everyone on YouTube, hang on 1 second. Copy. Hang on 1 second. Everyone watching on YouTube and Rumble, right? Over on Rumble. No, hang on a second. Shut up, Ben. Right. I'm going to put a link up here in the chat. Right? This is the link to my Substack. Over here on Rumble, same thing. Today on my Substack, we're going to do an 1.5-hour video just on how to get into and get you some Bitcoin ASAP, as soon as freaking possible. All right? So if you're watching on YouTube, I just put the link up there for my Substack. Click that link, join the Substack for this video, and that's my private server. Right? The good information that YouTubes won't allow me to do is all on Substack, on a private server. Right? The link is in the descriptions, and now it's in the live chat. Join now. Right? Everyone else, we're going to, everyone on YouTube, bye-bye. You go bye-bye. Because Ben's words that Ben's about to say are not allowed on YouTube. I think that's Pig Latin. I don't know. Just saying. Links in the chat and in the description for the private server. Love you guys. Bye-bye, YouTube.